You heard some of the numbers and the stats there from Elizabeth. Army, Navy, Air Force recruitment numbers are down. The Pentagon says only 9% of 16 to 21-year-olds would consider military service. How do we go about changing the patriotic feel and restoring it in this country, do you think?
I think part of the way we need to do it is by speaking to the ideals that really led to the American Revolution in the first place and reviving those ideals. Half the role of the next president isn't even the policy role. Yes, I do go into deep policy depth, but I think the more important part of the role, if I had to pick, is reviving a missing national character in this country. That's what Reagan, when he left office in January of 1989, that's what he said was his most proud accomplishment. When I'm leaving office in January 2033, that's what I want to be saying as well. I do think having a different generational leader, I'm 37 years old, I'm the first millennial ever to run for U.S. president as a Republican, gives me both a special opportunity and responsibility to reach that next generation. In terms of tangible solutions, one thing I've talked about is that young people don't value a country that they just inherit. They value a country they have a stake in creating, in knowing something about. That's why I've said that every high school senior, I believe, should have to pass the same civics test that an immigrant to this country has to pass in order to become a voting citizen of the country, if that 18-year-old wants all the privileges of citizenship as well. So these are big, outside the partisan box ideas I've committed to in this campaign. And I think we're going to be successful, but it's not going to happen automatically.
You know, Vivek, earlier this week, NewsNation, you probably saw it, had a town hall with the 2024 Democratic presidential candidate, RFK Jr. Elizabeth Vargas asked him if he'd support the Democratic nominee, no matter who it is. I want you to listen to that exchange and then get your reaction on the other side.
As a lifelong Democrat, as you just said very passionately, will you pledge to support whoever the Democratic nominee is, whoever it is, whether it's you, whether it's President Biden?
Oh, of course I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. No, of course I'm not.
So
listen,
if you don't get the nomination, you won't support President Biden?
I don't know what I'll do. Let's see let's see what happens in this campaign. Let's see, you know, what if people are living up to democratic values and having debates and having discussions and, you know, talking to each other, but I'm not going to buy.
And if you feel that's not happening, would you then support a Republican or run as an independent?
You know what? My plan is to win this election, and I don't have a plan B.
You know, Vivek, there's been on your side of the race a lot of talk about loyalty pledges, especially when it comes to the presidential debates. What do you think about this idea of party loyalty pledges and RFK Jr.'s response there?
Well, my top loyalty is to this nation. And I don't think the dividing line in this country right now is between Republicans and Democrats. I just don't. I think it is between those of us who are pro-American, who believe in the ideals of the American Revolution, the ideals that this nation was founded on, and those in this country, and it exists, who are in some sense anti-American, who wish to apologize for the existence of a nation founded on our ideals. Viewed that way, I don't think it's 50-50. Okay. I think it's easily 80-20 in our favor. And half the 20 are people younger than me who never learned those ideals in the first place, who I think will bring along as well.
Hey,
which
Vivek,
is why I think we have an opportunity to win in a landslide in 2024. That's what I'm looking to do.
Got to run, but want to ask you real quick, because, of course, the number one issue for voters is the economy, right? And when you look at what's going on in the news right now, we got an inflation print today that came in. The headline number was good. Inflation's still sticky, but inflation continues to drop. Earlier this week, GDP for Q1 went up to 2%. The S&P 500 first 6 months of the year closed today. It's up 16% for the year. Record low, or at least near low, historic unemployment. Seems like you could paint a pretty decent picture for the economy right now. What's the argument for you as to how you or any other Republican could do better?
Look, the facts are we're growing at less than 1% GDP growth this year. For most of our national history, we've grown at over 4%, at least 3 to 4% GDP growth. The path from here to there is pretty simple. Unlock American energy, drill, frack, burn coal, embrace nuclear energy. You have to actually put people back to work. Those unemployment statistics betray the fact that it's not the fact that there's not enough job openings. It's the opposite problem we have. There are too many job openings that businesses
like
aren't able to fill.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so that's the reverse problem. So we can't look in the 1990s and pretend like we're using that vocabulary today. The problem today is different. It's the opposite. We're paying people to stay at home instead of actually incentivizing people to go to work.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.